Hey everybody, welcome to Geek Rant. I'm Greg and I'm joined again with Toby and Sarah. This week, as there's not been a film to review or a new TV series, we're going to be talking about what's coming up in the next few weeks. We've got Obi Wan Kenobi, we've got Stranger Things, we've got The Boys, and we've got another trailer for Thor, Love and Thunder. Okay, guys, well, what we're going to talk about first is tomorrow is the release of the much anticipated Obi Wan Kenobi new series.
Yeah,
and a few days ago, they released a trailer which gave a little bit more of the detail and the look of some of the characters that are going to be involved in this series, and it looks quite interesting.
They're coming. Stay hidden, or we will not survive.
So you both watched the trailer. What did you think? I was a bit concerned about too much Tatooine because every series seems to be on Tatooine.
Yeah, I look. I mean, for this last trailer, there was one thing that particularly stood out for me. There was a lot of footage, kind of looking back at the old footage from the original films.
Yeah,
and I feel if that's the way this series is going to go, I think that's going to be really bad. I just think it's a no because if you look at a lot of the other films, other series, they haven't done that. I think if we feel the need, if they feel like they have to bring in other little snippets of Obi-Wan looking down at Annie on the floor with his red eyes, I'm just going to think, why do you need to do that? We need a story that is present in the TV series and not something that is just always reflecting on these crappy films. There's a lot of baggage for people with these old films, and they don't like them. And the minute you can start showing them all the time, it's just they're going to be terrible.
Well, I know what you mean. I think are they trying? They're portraying that because I wonder if they're trying to just place it in the whole series of the whole Star Wars universe, because
we know that already. But it's
always very tricky, isn't it? Because this is set. I think this is set something like 10 years after Episode 3. It is quite obvious, I suppose. But there are elements in there, isn't there? Like when he's looking at Luke and he's pretending to almost like pod race with the same sort of glasses as Anakin.
Yeah, no, they reshot that.
I
wasn't worried so much about it. They reshot that. That is new footage, isn't it? That's not
new footage. But what I'm saying is, it's like that link back to the previous series of Anakin when he was young. Yeah,
exactly. And I think the fact they had this reimagined footage, which projected your thought back to the film. What I don't want to see is the old film, because I want a narrative, a rewriting of the original story in my head, a new narrative, a new film that I can draw upon, rather than having to go back to that crappy old footage of those prequel films, which were terrible.
Yeah, and they're trying to create nostalgia, aren't they? As well. They're trying to put a timeline in, but they're also trying to create a bit of nostalgia. But with those prequel films, they were weren't they? They weren't. It's a shame that they can't just remake them for us.
You never know. They may well remake some of these Star Wars films.
I know that Ewan McGregor,
to be honest, they need to make the last two again, because they were bloody disastrous.
No,
they weren't. They weren't that bad, I didn't think.
No.
What were you saying, Jedi? And the
I thought that they were. I think they were much better than the prequels. Put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Much better. So? Absolutely. Yeah. So much better.
That's really interesting. Well, I thought The Force Awakens was. I mean, we talked about that before, haven't we? But I thought that was a good film, but I was very disappointed with the last two. Anyway, back onto this.
Oh, that's why you didn't like those films.
That's true.
They made him into a bit
I just think that the characters are much better in those later films than those early films.
Definitely.
The characters are crap. They're shallow. They have hardly any lines.
Yeah.
The acting is really shoddy in those first films.
There's too much of that green screen sort of setup, isn't there? You know, and it's too like that. But I thought some of this looked quite good. You know, the sets look good. You know, the Inquisitors that are going to come after him look quite interesting characters.
They really, you
know, you know, even like the fortress that they've got in that world where it's in the sea, you know, and it's kind of like a great big fortress that they're flying down to, and I think there could be some good stuff. But I'm just hoping, like you say, they don't keep harping on back to, you know, and the Hayden Christensen coming back and playing Darth Vader. Do you think that Darth Vader is going to come into it much, or do you think that's just going to be like in the last episode, or snippets here and there, and then maybe a showdown? Do you think they're going to have another showdown with Obi Wan and Darth Vader?
I did hear Ewan McGregor talking about it on the radio, and he was saying that there's a scene in the new series where Darth Vader comes up behind him,
right?
So they definitely are in the same space at some point, and they definitely encounter each other. I don't know how much. I hope that Christine Haydenson isn't in it, because I just feel he's the worst actor, one of the worst actors to ever touch the franchise. And too much of him is going to be bad. He is a shit actor, and you know he has had no.
It surprises me as well that Ewan McGregor's come back into it. He was actually quite critical. I can remember interviews with him a few years after the episode, you know, the last one, and being very critical of it and not very, you know, that was all crap, wasn't it, really? And thinking,
the problem I have with him is, go on.
I'm surprised he's come back, you know. Maybe it's a bit of money, but you know,
he's not a Star Wars person.
No.
In this interview I was listening to, they asked him to list the original Star Wars films, and he struggled to name them. I mean, I'm like, that's apparent to me. He doesn't really understand what he's getting himself into. The reverence that role should be treated with. He doesn't seem to have it for me. I like him in a lot of films, but I hate him in the prequels. What he did with that character, I was actually really disappointed when I heard that he was coming back to play the role. And I think that he's got a lot to make up for. Hopefully he can reflect and not do such a stupid posh accent and try and tone that down a little bit. And maybe be a little bit more kind of wise and more reverent and you know, but I think that the baddies are going to completely take over the show. What do you think?
Sorry, Sarah, you going to say something?
That's right.
I think you're right. I think it's going to be quite driven by the baddies. You know, he's going to be skulking about trying to keep a low profile, and there's obviously he does obviously get off of Tatooine, because there's scenes in the thing, isn't there, where he's being chased around, there's gunfights, you know, which is quite interesting. He's using guns instead of using a lightsaber, so maybe that's just to try and keep a low profile, you know, so it's not so obvious he's a Jedi, you know. But I do like the idea of the Inquisitors themselves, you know, that they hunt down the Jedi, you know, that there are these very different characters, aren't they? The Grand Inquisitor's all that bald, you know, sort of weird looking guy, you know.
The Inquisitor is known as.
I don't know what he's. Did something happen to him? Was he like that for real? Or is he just like that? Is that just?
We've never seen him before, have we?
No.
No, I did wonder. I was thinking, I don't recognise that character.
He's in some of the animated series, isn't he?
Okay.
Yeah, he's in either Rebels or one of those you know, those series. So, but he looks quite different. He's thinner, you know, in those series. But it's
he looks a bit like a. He looks a bit like a wannabe Darth Vader, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It does a little bit.
Yeah,
but aren't they trained by Darth Vader? I thought they were the kind of he's trained up some Force sensitive people to be able to track down and finish off any outstanding Jedi. You know, I thought that was the whole point of them, is to find the last of the Jedi and kill them. You know, but yeah.
I mean, it looks like they take great pride in hunting down the Jedi. So and they have like in their room, that Inquisition room where you see them. There's like a little selection of trophies they've taken from the Jedi Temple at the back.
Oh, right, okay, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, so
that's good. It's nice when they put a few details in like that.
Yeah, so there's stuff like that. There's no doubt that it's all going to be. There's going to be loads of Easter eggs. You know, it's just whether the story's there, because that makes all the difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they are governed by 2 films either end of it, so they have a certain.
That's very true.
Follow.
That's very true. Yeah. I
mean, they can't kill Obi Wan off, can they?
Yeah, so we know
we know he's going to survive.
Yeah, we know Darth Vader won't die. We know Luke won't die. So
yeah, that's very true, isn't it? You know, they can't they can't damage the timeline, can they? They can't do anything drastic that's going to change it. No. You know, he could go off world, you know, and do other things, but his whole idea was that he was keeping a low profile and keeping an eye on Luke, wasn't he? So yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's the first 2 episodes that get released tomorrow.
Oh, is it?
Awesome. Yeah. So that will be good. It's only a 6-part series, so it's not on for long, but hopefully it's got the quality, you know, and I hope it hasn't got the same problems that we've had, because when we reviewed Moon Knight, you know, all the episodes were slightly like they've been written by totally different people, you know, and all that sort of thing. I hope those kind of issues don't come into it, and that we can just enjoy a good Star Wars series like The Mandalorian, you know, sort of get back to that sort of thing, you know. So good. Well, the other program that's coming out tomorrow is the 4th series of Stranger Things.
You've broken everything. Your suffering is almost at an end.
It's been 3 years since the last season.
I was trying to work out how long it was, you know.
Yeah,
and
July 19 was the last episode.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's actually, I'm not as excited about this one as I am about the Obi Wan, obviously because I'm more of a Star Wars fan and so on. The last series of Stranger Things was all right. I think my problem is it's all a bit too similar now, you know. I look at the trailer and see a lot of the sort of similar sort of aspects, and they've tried to make it different, haven't they, by sort of taking the characters and now they're all a bit split, you know. Some were moved out of the out of Hawkins, some have stayed there, you know, and I can't try, what was the guy's name? Hopper, I think, Hopper or Hooper or something.
Yeah,
he's in Russia, isn't he? I think he got when that at the end of the last series, when they tried to close that rift,
he went through the rift.
He went through the rift, didn't he?
And it ended up coming out another rift somewhere else.
Right. Maybe. So, is there a suggestion there that it's like the gateway to going into a place in Russia?
The suggestion is the Russians, they're trying to open the gateways, but they are unable to do it in Russia. And so they come to America to open the rifts there.
I see.
Yeah.
I can't. You see in the trailer that there's one of those creatures with the face thing that opens up.
Yeah,
they're mucking about with those, aren't they?
The demigorgons, are they called? I can't remember.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But then there's this character who kind of got tentacles and being lifted off the, you know, and looks like an undead, you know, witch, almost like the something
Mind
Game of
Flayer.
Thrones or something. Mind Flayer.
Look
or
like
something.
They call them mind flayers in Dungeons and Dragons. That's the
Oh.
reference here, you see.
Yeah.
So there are little references to Dungeons and Dragons throughout
Yes.
the show. The creatures and they have appeared in Dungeons and Dragons before. Some of these creatures, and within the trailer. This last trailer, there's a sequence where you see them playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's right.
And that is very much the stage. Okay, so they're rolling for the almost like the events of the show within the Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know how they're going to quite tie it in.
You think they'll mirror that somehow? And
I think so. I think they do on some level. They do mirror it, but I that for me looked quite interesting. I love it when they bring those sort of geeky things into shows, and I think that they're going to be highlighting that. But I do think, as you were saying, it's a lot of the same.
Yeah.
Now I do, but for me, that's what I'm going to go back to it for.
Right.
Now I can understand what you're saying, but for me, I want to go back and see the same, because I think that's a really difficult thing to do. Because if you look at The Mandalorian, the second season wasn't as good as the first season.
Yeah.
And I think that we were wanting pretty much what the same first season was again, and they were trying to do some new things. Some of it didn't work. They obviously got rid of the child and that whole type of thing. I think that there was a kind of, but I think with this, I'm quite excited to watch it. I think another thing that's interesting is the kids have grown up during this time
a lot.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So, and they've all got their own sort of profiles now, aren't they? So,
yes,
whatever her name is. She's they got this profile now. She wants to be very much a woman now, doesn't she? Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see how her role evolves within it. And Mikey, he's famous. He was great in Afterlife, Ghostbusters.
Yeah, Ghostbusters. Yeah.
I loved him in that. I thought he's got a bright future, that lad. A bit like Timothy Chalamet, whatever his name is. I think they're sort of similar style actors.
Yeah.
What do you think, Sarah?
I think Timothy is a bit more serious, probably, but I'm really looking forward to it. I loved how authentic it was, authentic 80s.
Yeah.
Brought back a lot of our childhood memories, that sort of era. And they
definitely gave it a tick. Definitely gave it a tick in my box, because I love 80s music and all that sort of thing. So that was a bonus.
Yeah.
And they've managed to, as you say, sustain that through all of the seasons. They didn't watch the first season, then watch the second one and think, oh, it wasn't as good. We thought, this is as good, and it's really fucked up, and there's loads of weird things in there. You don't quite understand what's going on, but I'm going to watch it. But did you watch the first 8 minutes?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Did you see it, Toby? So it shows a sequence of 11 when she's younger.
Yes.
They've actually got a younger face on her to make her look younger. So it's digitally but basically,
a bit like a Luke Skywalker thing.
A little bit, yeah.
Or a Nick Fury thing when he's in Marvel, Captain Marvel.
Because it's another child with her face on it.
Right. Yes.
It's computer graphics, so child with her, but it shows what happened at the beginning, stuff that we haven't seen about her when she was being held captive.
Is there stuff related to the Russians in that?
It's basically she just kills everybody in this in this hospital, and including all the children that are being tested on.
But didn't we see one in one of the series? There was because she's number.
Well, this is what it
11,
shows,
isn't she? Oh, right. Okay. Maybe they survive. I don't know.
Well, no, there's rumor that there's another child, a boy that's been tested on that's coming into the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And maybe he didn't die. Maybe it looked like he died, but he hadn't actually died.
Right.
There was
is that the guy? Is that the guy that's the dungeon playing the Dungeons and Dragons game?
No.
I
don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know.
No,
do you mean what? What do you think?
It looks amazing. I'm looking forward to it. I need to watch some recaps though of the first 3 seasons before I watch it.
I think that's the thing. It has been, like, if you're saying it's 3 years, I mean, yeah, it has been a long time since I've seen the last series. So I do need to go back over maybe the last 1 or 2 episodes, just to get the flavor. But I think my other issue with these sorts of things, I'm not a big horror fan. You know, this is a bit more horror genre, isn't it? Sci-fi horror. You know, I'm a bit less on that gore and that slightly freaky. You know, I'm not too keen on the freakiness of some of it.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
that's interesting, because that's one of the things that really draws me to it. I mean, I think that, I mean, listening to my teenagers, my children talking about it, Ivy loves it. I mean, she's 14 and she buys into it. And I think that they love the terror. They love a bit of the gore. And I think that it adds a bit of spice to it, which is why it's one of the reasons in my mind why it's popular, because it is quite mature for its rating. And it's made up horror. It's not like someone's having their head squeezed in a vice or anything like that. No. It's kind of like some strange possession. You know, it couldn't actually happen. I think that gives it license to be a bit more, you know, body horror type, body shock stuff.
No, absolutely. Well, it'll be interesting. Well, like I say, I think they're also releasing this, aren't they, in 2 parts? I think they're starting to learn now, Netflix, that they can't keep dumping everything all at the same time. And that they need to split it up a bit. So it'll be a 2-parter, this one. So that'd be good, because we could review a few of the episodes and then we can have the second lot, you know, at a later date, you know.
Definitely.
Interestingly, some of these episodes are longer than movies, they're saying.
Right.
So, like, a couple of the episodes are like 1 hour and 40 minutes.
Oh, really?
Oh, I hadn't heard that. That's interesting.
Oh,
and so even though there's only 8 episodes, there's like nearly 13 hours worth of footage in the series. So it's much more than any other series that they've done. And a lot of them are saying, is that because they're making up for the fact they haven't released anything for 3 years? I think the last season was only.
I think this is supposed to be the last series, isn't it? So
is it?
Yeah,
is it that?
I think so. I think that's what someone was saying. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it surprises me because it's huge, isn't it? And people are gagging for it. So, but yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it.
Good. The next one we got on the list is the 3rd series of The Boys. This is set to come out on the 3rd of June on Amazon Prime. And here's a quick clip.
So, let me say it again, Cam. I may be a superhero, but I'm also just a man who fell in love with the wrong woman. Just a man who fell for the wrong woman. Fell for the wrong woman. But out of crisis comes change. Out of crisis comes change. So I spent the last year really slowing down and reconnecting with myself. And I am very excited for everyone to meet the real me.
Great. I'm hoping that they're going to get back to some form on this series. The first series was brilliant, was epic. And, you know, the level of depravity was great. You know, it was such a great idea, the whole series. You know, the guy who plays Homelander, I think he's brilliant. You know, he plays this nutty character so well.
Anthony Starr,
yes. And then series 2 was just not, I don't know what it was. It just didn't quite have the same mojo.
Yeah, I agree.
It could have, you know, it wasn't, I don't know how to describe it really, because they were trying to do the same sort of stuff and trying to, you know, be as out there, you know, with some of the stuff, like the guy with the big dick, you know, that was going, you know, all that sort of thing. That was there was a lot of funny things like that. There was the bit where they smash into the whale, and you know, there's a few bits that were just a bit weird, you know. But yeah, I'm hoping this is going to come back onto a bit of they've had a bit of time to sort it, haven't they, to get the next series.
I hope so.
Right. And obviously the trailer starts with Homelander sort of trying to get his image back, you know, and trying to, you know, want people
like
to read, you know, I fell in love with the wrong person, and I'm trying to get people to know me for who and then you see him sitting there squeezing the teats of the cow, and he's going, it's like
lying next to the little blood patch in the bed, stroking it.
It is quite dark.
It's one of the darkest TV series. Definitely.
I think the first series was amazing because the concept of having these superheroes that were actually quite flawed, like a human being, but imagine being a normal human being with flaws and having superpowers. You get a bit of a superior
abusing their power, thinking they can do anything,
Supes aren't super.
They can. And I think that the season 2, and although I still really, really loved it, I did think it went off a little bit. It didn't have that element of learning about all the new characters and introducing the whole concept. So they didn't have all of that to do in the second season. So they had to have a decent storyline. And to be honest, I can't even really remember exactly what happened in it, which is terrible when I'm thinking back.
Yeah, me too.
Because obviously, the name of the bad woman.
It came out more, didn't it, about the fact that they were drugging the children to turn them into the superheroes. And then the what was the character's name who Homelander has a bit of a thing with?
Yeah, I can't remember.
She's like really old, isn't she? So she was the previous, and she was a Nazi and all that sort of thing. And just typically
Victoria,
twisted and crazy, But I also thought it looked quite good that old Billy Butcher's gonna get some superpowers, that he's gonna be able to have take a thing.
That's interesting.
For 24 hours to get his power, to get some powers, and you're not sure.
You see, for me, that's interesting. I think that moment's going to be like Marmite. I think you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. Yeah. And for me, Billy was always the one who resisted. He was against the superpowers.
He was.
And I think for him to take it and so willingly level the playing field, as he says in the trailer, I think that is. I don't think that fits in with his character, and I was kind of thinking to myself, what that, and then when I thought about the trailer, that's the thing that stood out for me, the fact that he's now becoming a supe, the thing that he hates. And I was wondering,
but that to me is good though, because it's that crisis of character. Do you know what I mean? He's reaching a new low for his own character to join, to be something that he doesn't want to be. It's for me, that's actually quite a good character thing, because then it creates more, the other guys in his team, were all saying, well, you can't, you're going to become what you didn't want to become, so that will create a bit of
definitely conflict. I see what you're saying.
Or it something really bad is going to happen to him to make it.
There's probably be some sort of side effect, won't there, or something?
No, I mean, obviously something happens that makes him take the serum to then feel he has to stoop to their level.
Well, let's hope it. Let's hope so. For me, in the first series, them sort of skulking around in their vans, feeling bitter. I thought that was excellent. I thought that was really amusing. And they'd have goes at each other and they were fighting in a squabbling. That was good. It's got a bit
trying to
out
hide
of hand.
I
think
trying not to be discovered.
And there seem to be lots of new superheroes coming into the show, because obviously you can just take this medicine. It doesn't make you special anymore, unfortunately. I mean, you are now, anybody can be a superhero. It's going to be the line, isn't it? I think there's going to be quite a lot of that in the show. And I think
there are a few, isn't there? There's quite a few that you see in the trailer. There's a guy with a shield, and there's a guy with a bazooka, and a woman who sort of shoots these. There was a very Wolverine bit near the end where the guy that comes out of that thing, is like,
it's like a beast,
soldier boy,
Is that the guy from Supernatural?
I don't think so.
I don't. He had a big beard, didn't he? Though he was kind of a bit sort of,
I
don't know, but I'm I don't know. The jury's out for me on this one.
Yeah.
Looking at the trailer, I'm like,
Yeah.
is it just going to be too much?
It could be
They
amazing.
forgot about the characters again.
It could be amazing, but it could be. Really
I hope
terrible.
it is, because I love the first series. It
Yeah.
just got a bit. One of the disappointing things for me is they gave the origin stories to all the characters and gave it all the same origin story.
Yeah.
For me, one of the strengths of a superhero series is different origin stories creates different conflicts within the characters, and there isn't that. They're all on this same experience. They're all given this drug, and they're all, I quite like the interactions between the kids and the parents, and the justification the parents would give the kids.
Yeah,
like with the Starlight, that sort of thing. That interests me.
Yeah.
Whereas I think that this could just, it looks like it's trying to do Marvel. So
I think it's going to be good to watch, and I think it's going to be dark, and I think it's going to be some outrageous things. There's going to be a lot of blood.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have seen Series 2 wasn't as popular as Series 3, Series 1, and so they're going to go all out to try and make this like so it can continue. They want to have another series.
It is the guy from Supernatural.
Is it?
Oh, okay.
Okay, you just checked, did you?
Yeah, I did, and he's got a huge fan base.
I wonder what you're going to
say then for a minute.
Huge.
I love the fact that he's in that. Honestly, it's made me more excited about watching it. And that moves us quite nicely onto the Thor trailer, probably. And the fact all those women were passing out. That's hilarious.
Hey, look, we're going to discuss that in a minute. You hold your horses. You calm down there, young lady. Well, that's good. I think we are all looking forward to seeing that one. That's definitely one. I was a little bit Stranger Things I might put on the back burner, but I'll see. But the boys, when
maybe we should put them in order at the end.
Yeah,
maybe the ones we're looking forward to the most.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Now, obviously, we're going to talk about Thor. There are a couple of other series that are coming up, and I'm sure we'll review them during, and a couple of movies as well. Jurassic World, Dominion. That's one that's coming up in the beginning of June.
Yeah.
The Lightyear film, I'm actually quite looking forward to the animated Lightyear film. That's again, I'm sure we'll talk about that in future.
Well, that'd be good for your household, Greg, as well, won't it? Because your three little ones.
Yeah,
you're gonna love that.
They've changed the voice of Buzz.
Yes, it's Chris Evans, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that.
But as Sarah has alluded to there, we did want to talk about the Thor trailer. That's just come online a couple of days ago, and looks like good fun. Toby's shaking his head there. He's not a fan. He's obviously not a fan of Thor. So
Marvel in general recently.
Kids, get your popcorn now. Let me tell you the story of the space Viking, Thor Odinson. He was no ordinary man. He was a god. After saving planet Earth for the 500th time, Thor set off on a new journey. Well, he got in shape. He went from dad bod to god bod. And after all that, he reclaimed his title as the one and only Thor. Oh, spoke too soon.
I like Taika. I can't ever pronounce his surname properly, but he's a good director, and I'm hoping he's pulled something out of the bag here. Obviously, he directed Thor Ragnarok, which was good. Had some really good moments in it. There was some good stuff in Thor Ragnarok, and then this one. It looks interesting. It's got Christian Bale in it as well as this Thor character. You get to see him for the first time in this trailer, and I thought that was quite
amazing,
quite interesting. Yeah, he looks like a bit of a sort of dark evil character, doesn't he? And there's no color. There's no real color on him, is there? They seem like they've gone black and white film with him. maybe a little bit in his eyes, but yeah. So
that might just save this film having Christian Bale in it.
He's awesome.
He is a good actor. He's
such a good actor, and he can change himself so much for each film that he's in.
Yeah. He's
if you see the way he acts even in those snippets, he look, and he's amazing. He's amazing.
Yeah, steady on. No, he's the thing about Christian Bale is he's a notorious asshole, isn't he?
Yeah,
and he's the stories about him being.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The stories about him being girls like that, though, don't they? I don't know. But the thing is, right? But a lot of these actors that are popular are idiots, aren't they? Let's face it.
Yeah.
And he is he has that edge to him. So when you see him, you just look at him, you think he's slightly crazy, slightly mad, and you can put he probably because he has to get himself to that point when he's on set, and he gets to that stage, and you can see it. But what's interesting is his look is very distinctive, and it harks back to a different sort of God. So we're looking at maybe something that is more British in origin, maybe with the gods, because it looks like Woden or something like that from the early pagans from the British Isles or something like that. He looks like he's been
supposed to be an alien creature, isn't he? The actual character is an alien creature, and I think it does look quite different. I think it's got like tentacles and like no nose, and they have changed the actual look of this character.
I did think Voldemort for a minute when I saw him, but then the paint on him, I thought like he just drawn that paint down his face almost like you would do if you were a kind of a pagan warrior.
A Celt
running through
like a Celt
running through a field, and very earthy. So I think he's going to be very sort of gravelly and base and horrible, which I think could save the film because the rest of it looks shit. Let's face it.
I can't wait to watch it. I'm going to enjoy watching every minute of that film.
Yeah, we'll have the other view now. Right. Zoe thinks it's going to be shit. Sarah thinks, I can't wait to see Zeus do the flick and you see his naked buttocks.
Oh my God, Russell Crowe when he was like, I'll just do the flick. Oh. He sounded like he was demented, didn't he?
He's putting on, I don't know what accent he's putting on, but
who knows?
Well, he's supposed to be Zeus, isn't
terrible.
he? Is it Greek? Is it like a Greek sort of accent or something? But I did think it was quite funny, and he was like, "You flick too hard," And he was like,
and then they're like, "Oh, should we help him in a minute?"
Yeah.
And all the women around Zeus like faint.
Not just the women. There's some men as well that faint as well, which is quite.
But apparently, on his back, he's got "Rest in Peace, Loki" tattooed on his back.
Yes. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
Moments like this to really throw out all the storyline, really base it and take it down to that crap level that Marvel so easily achieves.
Dear.
Hemsworth obviously likes a bit of comedy, doesn't he?
He does.
So that's fine.
Yeah, fine. Yeah.
I think this is it. He is becoming more of a comedy character than he is, But what was interesting, you didn't really see much of the Guardians of the Galaxy in this trailer.
No.
So I'm presuming anyway that they were just a small snippet in the film.
I think so.
Small cameo, almost sort of effect.
They'll be doing their next film soon, won't they?
And send him off to go and do whatever he's going to do.
There's another Guardians film coming, I think.
Yes, that's right. Yes, yeah. I quite like the idea that his Stormbreaker he can put it in this boat thing that he can fly off because it can and all that sort of thing. You don't like any of that sort of thing.
All right, you go. It's just me. I just think it's all pants, really. To be honest,
I don't know if I really like. Natalie.
I'm sorry. It's just my opinion. It doesn't matter.
No, that's fine.
You like it. You like it.
I like that. I like that side.
Yeah.
The Stormbreaker could call the old what do they call it?
Viking longship.
Yeah, it's So that was quite interesting, and he had a couple of, because obviously in mythology, Thor has a chariot with some rams or something that lead the chariot as they fly through the, and so they had a couple of ram looking type things there to signify that. I am wondering how they're going to play it with the Jane Foster,
Natalie Portman,
and
yeah,
character.
Looks terrible.
Whether she's always going to be, because there's a lot of the women come into it and they're better than the men, and there's a little bit of that sort of thing that I'm, they make him seem a bit daft, and she's like going to do everything, but we'll see.
Chris Hemsworth, he's excellent at being daft, though, isn't he? He's paid millions and millions of pounds to play daft characters. And he does it very well. He's very funny. I mean, he's a very charming, funny man.
Yeah. Yeah. It suits it as a role, but he can also, when he's got to pick up the challenge of beating a baddie, he can do that as well, can't he? So yeah, and annoyingly, he does look bloody ripped in it as well, doesn't he? So
just can't tell these days whether that's how they look or whether it's
CGI.
Enhanced.
That's good. So we unanimous on that one. Then we're all going to really enjoy seeing Thor and when it comes out. I'm actually quite looking forward to that one. I like Thor. I think it's a good comical, good character. He often has some good moments when he's getting his powers back or something. He's done something stupid, then he gets his powers back and he beats some ass. So I'm looking forward to that kind of thing. Good.
Why not?
Well, we've covered some good areas there. I think there's some good stuff coming up. All stuff that we're going to be able to review on this channel.
Yeah.
We're gonna watch the Obi Wan series.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching these.
Yeah.
But I think Obi Wan for me is definitely the highest on that.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably followed by Stranger Things, then The Boys. I think, and then we've got Thor,
right
at the bottom for me.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Sarah, what are you most excited about?
Really difficult to say, but I think Thor.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Then The Boys.
Right. Yeah.
And then Stranger Things, and then
excellent. That's the other way around to me.
It's completely.
That's great.
I'm somewhere in between. I think I think Stranger Things is at the bottom for me. I'll watch it, and the good thing about when you're not expecting something to be really great is if it is good, then it's really great, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's totally unexpected. That was better than I thought. It's the worst thing to go in and see something when you're thinking that's going to be brilliant, and then it's rubbish. I think, I think it's Obi Wan probably near the top. Maybe Thor. I quite like Thor, and The Boys maybe second, third. So I'm kind of around that sort of scenario. I'll probably come back after seeing some of the Stranger Things and think, that was actually much better than the others. But we'll review them in the coming weeks and be able to talk about them. Thanks very much, everybody, for listening to us tonight. If you could subscribe to the channel, that'd be great. If you like what we're doing, press the like button. Thanks again to Toby and Sarah for joining me tonight and talking about those trailers and those bits coming up. There's lots of good stuff. And we'll see you soon. Take care.
Bye.